Chinese mooncake sales drop while lottery ticket sales boom. China's mooncake industry took a hit this year as consumer spending slowed amid a weak economy. Meanwhile, lottery ticket sales have surged as individuals with a bleak economic outlook place their bets on a more promising future. Mooncakes are usually sold around the Mid-Autumn Festival, also known as the Moon Festival, one of the most significant traditional festivals in Chinese culture, second only to the Chinese Lunar New Year in importance and popularity. The Mid-Autumn Festival typically falls on the 15th day of the 8th month in the Chinese lunar calendar, which usually occurs in September or early October in the Gregorian calendar. This year, the festival was observed on September 29th. It is a time when family members gather to celebrate the harvest, appreciate the beauty of the full moon, and enjoy mooncakes, a special pastry filled with various fillings. Tight budget. Mooncakes usually generate a lot of revenue annually. In August, the China Association of Bakery and Confectionery Industry released a report anticipating a 5% increase in this year's mooncake sales. However, online mooncake sales significantly declined compared to a year ago, and mooncake bakeries and shops in Beijing also saw sluggish sales, according to Chinese news portal Sohu. For example, the e-commerce Joybuy platform sold approximately 91,000 boxes of mooncakes during this year's Moon Festival, compared to 160,000 boxes sold in the same period last year, and total sales dropped by 55% as of mid-August. China Press reported on September 29, pre-order sales were also down. For example, a bank in Guangzhou City decreased its regular order from thousands of boxes to a few hundred this year. Zheng Xuguang, a political and economic expert on China, told the Epoch Times that the reduced mooncake orders show that various industries and companies could be struggling to stay afloat and need to cut expenses amid the economic slowdown. Last year, the COVID-19 lockdowns did not affect mooncake production and sales. According to various Chinese media reports, Chinese mooncake production increased from 328,000 tons in 2015 to 437,000 tons in 2022. Sales increased from $1.83 billion in 2015 to $3.39 billion in 2022. Playing the lottery. In stark contrast, lottery ticket sales saw a year-on-year increase of 53.6%. With nationwide lottery sales of 52.96 billion yuan, about $7.25 billion, according to data released by the Ministry of Finance in August. Chinese netizens noted that an increasing number of people are lining up to buy lottery tickets in shopping malls. According to the Hong Kong Economic Journal, one social media user wrote, "It looks like many are dreaming of getting rich." China Affairs commentator said that Chinese people are worried about their future. He said, when people see no hope, they tend to rely on their luck, such as winning a lottery ticket. It indicates the entire society has lost its momentum and confidence in the future. China's incoming unwanted Lehman moment. No wages in 6 months, we want to survive. These are the sentences on banners of more than 30 people protesting outside the Guilin Municipal Radio, Film and Television Bureau in southern China's Guangxi province recently. China Affairs commentator Li Yanming said China's real estate implosion is much more severe than what the outside world has seen. In August, U.S. President Joe Biden said China is in trouble due to its economic downturn and high unemployment. He added that China is a ticking time bomb threatening the world economy. Local debt crisis leaves workers without pay. Protests in Guangxi province are just one case among many demonstrations occurring in China these days. An enormous amount of local debt prevents Chinese local governments from paying salaries and wages to their employees. Goldman Sachs estimates that Chinese local government debt has reached 94 trillion yuan, about $1.29 billion. In August, the CCP State Council dispatched investigators to more than 10 provinces to check their accounts and seek to reduce their debt. Huge local debts frequently leave public employees in China without a stable income and with wages in arrears, sometimes for months. State-owned Tianjin Bus Group, located about 72 miles from Beijing, delayed part of its bus drivers' wages for a 3-month period between June and August of this year, according to a report on Chinese news portal NetEase on September 14. The company has 1.83 million employees. Tianjin employees complained on local social media that they were not receiving overtime pay that was owed to them, while some had their health insurance suspended, according to the NetEase article. Chinese news site Jiemian News quoted a Tianjin bus driver as saying that his salary and summer heat subsidy had not been paid for 3 months as of September 20. A longtime employee of the public transportation company told the media that the situation goes back 2 years. Unpaid wages have sparked protests in some places. An online video on September 4 showed hundreds of high school teachers in Hunan province staging a sit-in protest to demand their paychecks, which hadn't been paid for several months. Yang Fan, a professor at the China University of Political Science and Law, said in a February 17 post on Weibo that China's finances can no longer afford its 81 million public employees. According to official data, in 2022, China's fiscal revenue was 2,037 billion yuan, $279 billion, while budgetary expenditure reached 2,606 billion yuan, $356 billion. The gap in fiscal deficit reached 5.7 trillion yuan, $77 billion, a number that had grown year on year. For reference, the figure is comparable to the GDP of Sichuan, China's fifth-largest province. Real estate crisis. Debt-ridden property developer Evergrande Group announced on September 22 it would abandon a $35 billion debt restructuring plan to ensure its survival, citing weaker-than-expected real estate sales. 6 days later, it is reported that Su Jiayin, chairman of Evergrande Group, had been detained on suspicion of violating the law and committing a crime. Other Chinese real estate giants are in dire straits as well. In September, Country Garden narrowly avoided default, while leading property developer Sunac filed for bankruptcy protection. Meanwhile, in August, Zhongji Enterprise Group, the largest asset management company in China, which reportedly manages 1 trillion yuan, $137 billion, in assets and has invested heavily in real estate, also defaulted on its debts. Efforts to minimize the risk of China's blow to the world. Western countries are wary that China's financial markets crisis could have a domino effect on the global financial economy. Washington's recent contacts with Beijing and the establishment of the working groups should be aimed at cushioning the impact of China's economic crisis on the U.S. and the rest of the world. The U.S. Department of Treasury announced September 22 that one of the groups will focus on economic topics, working with China's Ministry of Finance, and the other on financial topics, partnering with China's central bank, the People's Bank of China. The establishment of the working groups could be seen as a result of discussions by U.S. diplomats with their Chinese counterparts during visits to China this summer. Those efforts included a July talk between U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng, as well as a late August dialogue between Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo and Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wentao. Yellen wrote on X the day of the announcement, "My trip to China aimed to establish a durable channel of communication between the world's two largest economies."
Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from Understand China, and thank you for tuning in.